Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Margarita from the Centro Colombo Americana Bucaramanga. Our whole team, Elena Arenas, the cultural director, Rosabel, Diego, and myself are very happy to have here with us Iván Arango. Iván was born in Bogota in 1982 and he grew up in Bucaramanga. After studying advertising in Bogota and animated cartoons in Buenos Aires, he returned to Colombia and worked his way up in the advertising industry, eventually becoming a creative director. Alongside his career, he now owns a very successful gelato shop chain in Santander. Although Ivan has always created art, it wasn't until 2020 that he actually began focusing seriously on painting. He is a self-taught artist and he has explored a variety of techniques, including acrylics, oil, pastels, sculpture, and linoleum printing. In 2024, he co-founded the art collective Sietepuestos, which has held exhibitions and been featured in local media. So thank you, Ivan, for joining us today. How are you?
No, hi Margarita. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
That's awesome. So I want to start with the very beginning. How did you got involved with art and the desire to create? How did everything started for you?
Well, I started when I was born because my father was a really known artist in Santander. His name was Jorge Iván Arango. He did this huge mural that it's in Florida Blanca, Santander.
Mhm.
He was a painter, a sculptor. He did ceramics. I mean, you name it. He studied in Florence, in Italy. And it's quite funny because he studied advertising as well, and then he left the business and started his own way in painting and in art in
Mhm.
general. Um, Regardless that my parents split up when I was 3 years old, I always grew up like with in in my father's shadow. Well, all my brothers and me because he was pretty famous. Everyone in Bucaramanga had a painting in their home and etc. So that's kind of why I didn't started painting because maybe my mother didn't want me to go through that path in arts as well. So I kind of put it in the back of my mind. But I studied advertising, but I started working as a graphic designer, not as a copywriter or planner or any other position in advertising. So I started like a graphic designer and started doing illustrations in my free time and while I was studying in the university. I studied at Jorge Tadeo Lozano.
Mhm.
So I used to do graffiti and tags and stencil in Bogota, and I always wanted to do stuff, but I never took it seriously. I focused on advertising, and I grew up in that industry. I started as a graphic designer, then I became an art director, and then I moved all my way up to being a creative director, and I also work as a client, but then I got laid off from a huge company, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because it's really tough hours, and it's like working as an employee wasn't doing it for me anymore. I did pretty well. I was earning a lot of money and everything, but I was really tired. And then I started working on, my mother started like a gelato shop in 1991. It's called Gelatino. And I always thought that it could be bigger than it was. So I started working on that. I became a gelato master. I studied, I bought all the machinery you need for that to make artisanal gelato. And then I started working on that. And that, I'm telling you all of that because starting my own business and having it running smoothly allowed me to have more time for myself. And when I had more time for myself, I started thinking like, okay, maybe this is the time, a great time to start, experimenting and painting. And it was nearly COVID, but it wasn't COVID yet. I used to have like with my wife like a day for each other. It's like Thursdays you have the day for yourself and do whatever you want. And I started using Thursdays as my painting day. So I started painting, like experimenting with cardboards and pastels, but it was really like a tight version of painting because I still had like that graphic designer in me that didn't allow me to, make a mess and
Hmm.
explore, and everything had to be like perfect, and
Yeah.
every line had to be like smooth. And then COVID came, I had a child, and I started going on and off with the process. But like before starting the collective, Sietepuestos, the art collective, I was really getting into it again, and having a community and some other guys, some other weirdos to talk about what you do and what you love, and painting and sculpting. And for example, Esteban Mantilla, he's a full-time artist. He's been for a long time, so he really gave me great advice. And we said, okay, let's make this happen. Let's make an art collective, and let's just make an exhibition. So making that choice, and that put me in a place where I had to paint because we had an exhibition. So I really didn't have a lot. And it was like in 2 months, we have our first show. So I really pushed myself, and I started like speeding up and painting, and start finding my own voice and everything. It was pretty nerve wracking
Yeah,
because,
just in 2 months?
sorry,
Wow.
yes, like in 2 months. Well, I had some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have like big pieces. For example, everything was really small or wasn't really finished.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was really nerve wracking because I've never
Yeah.
had, I spoke in front of a lot of people when I was in advertising, and I gave TED Talks and everything, but it's different when you are showing your paintings because it's
Mm-hmm.
like you're naked. It's
Yes,
like,
you're up
okay,
there alone.
these
Yes.
are my little drawings,
Mm.
and you feel like everyone's going to judge you, and everyone has an opinion. And
Yeah.
I learned a lot from that exhibition and from that process about
Mm-hmm.
myself and about art in general. I used to run my mouth a lot, and I used to go to museums and was like, oh, I can do that, and oh, this painter sucks, and it wasn't until I had to, make my own stuff and really put it there and paint a huge canvas that I humbled myself, and I started understanding, like, okay, this is not as easy as it sounds, and being judged, it's part of the process, and start understanding that why was I painting, and why was I doing that, and why was I putting myself in that position. And it was because I loved it. I loved painting, and I always wanted to do it. So when I realized I was painting for myself and not to get validation or anything, things started to flow, with my work.
That's awesome, Ivan. And maybe because you started with the collective, maybe it made in a way like things easier because when you're alone out there, I mean, it's very intimidating as you mentioned, art, everyone judges, right? Everyone has an opinion, and it's not easy to put your work out there. It's like one of the biggest things that happen to artists because the fear sometimes is bigger. But I think it's awesome that you started and the collective has been very successful. You have made uh, a few exhibitions and you have an ongoing exhibition at the moment at the Colombo, right?
Right.
Uh, how
Well,
would you say that was the process of, because as you work with a group, it comes with some other challenges. It has some good things, but what would you say were some of the challenges as a collective that you guys faced?
answering your first question is definitely easier when you have a community and you're not alone doing everything because
Mm,
nowadays you have to just from naming the collective and doing the logo and the branding and the social media and painting, because
mm-hmm.
you one of the biggest challenges is that you are first of all an artist, and then comes all the other stuff.
Yes.
Who do you know? What are the connections? And when you have other people that have their own connections, that have their own processes, that are maybe good in some stuff that you are not good at, it really, really helps. There are a lot of challenges because there's a lot of egos, and everyone has different timelines, and everyone has their sons, their personal work, their businesses. So making it happen, it's about discipline and sticking to it because it's worth it. And what I can only talk from my own experience. I can talk for the other four people in the collective. Um, I I think it's worth it because we've seen some success, and maybe for some of the people in the collective, it translates that success in sales. Maybe for others like myself, it's more exposure and, like, oh, this guy exists and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can interview him in the Colombo or something like that, because I think I'm in a process
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not in a rush
Mm-hmm.
because, as I said, I work at my business and my business allows me to take my time. Maybe for
Mm-hmm.
other artists like Esteban, for example, this is his business, so his
Yeah.
approach is different from mine. And Catalina, for example, as well, this is her business. She is a major in arts and she studied in France and well, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes with a lot of challenges. There's sometimes you don't like each other. Sometimes you don't like what other guys paint and
Mm-hmm.
you rather make it your own way. But it's about committing, compromising, and knowing what's the final goal. What's my goal as an artist, and what's the goal of the collective. And
Mm-hmm.
Bucaramanga, and in general Santander, is not known for the camaraderie. Everyone is like doing their own thing, and it's really hard to get together to do stuff with other people. So I don't know if it's in our blood or something in our the way we are, but it's really hard to work as a community. And for us, it's been hard. It has its up and downs, but in general, it's been amazing because when we do these expositions and these shows, people can have a look at a whole range of work. It's not like let's go see Iván Arango. It's more like okay, let's go see art, and maybe there's a guy that paints, and for example, Catalina cuts wood and she makes these shapes and maybe use engines to move her work. And everyone, Juan Camilo is an architect and everything is straight lines, and it's kind of cool because you can see what's going on and work from other people. And we hope we can invite more artists into the collective as as a guest to make more shows, you know?
That sounds great. And everything is about, yes, communication. So you have to have some very strong skills. And what you mentioned, that's very important that you have like the big goal very clear and keep your mind focused on that while you
Yes,
work.
you need to focus on the big goal
Hmm.
and not in the small problems and discussions and whatever, you know, because those things are going to happen.
Hmm.
And everyone is an artist, and artists are very sensitive about
Yes.
everything in life. So you have to let stuff go and, you know, just say, okay, it doesn't matter. I don't like it right now, but
Mm.
the goal is to show our work and whatever. But on and off, the big picture is always greater than you know letting your ego
Hmm.
win and say, okay, I'm out of this,
Yeah.
and you go do your thing and I'll go do my thing because you know, for example, I didn't know anyone in the Colombo, and
Uh-huh.
Esteban did, and they invited Esteban, and when you have more people working, it's more like, for example, now I live in Barichara, and
Hmm.
maybe we're going to do a show here, and you know,
Great.
it's all about community work and working just for the love of what we do.
Yeah, that's great. Um, Ivan, would you mind talking about a bit of your creative process? How does it work from like start to finish of a painting? And also maybe where do you find your inspiration at the moment?
Cool. Yeah, sure. Well, I think my background in advertising gave me like my process, my creative process is always research first. I know what I love, I know what I don't like. So I have like mood boards of paintings and Pinterest, folders full of artists that I really love. And I also have another folder full of pictures, you know, of reference pictures that I can use, and I have apps that allow me to see, for example, different face angles. So, for example, there's an app that you can search for a male in his 60s, like looking up, whatever, and it shows you a lot of pictures of with that description. So I have like resources and my whole inspiration folders. I am a sketchbook addict. I can see a sketchbook because I buy it, even if I don't feel it. I have my iPad. I'm always working like in ideas, in small ideas, but on and off, I think I love nature. I love flowers. I love my father used to paint nature, so I think that's something that stuck with me. My grandmother used to have a flower shop. My grandfather made the botanic garden in Bucaramanga. My father always said that it should be called Luis Arango and not, I don't remember the name of the other guy that names it because that was the house where my father grew up.
Oh, wow.
And my grandmother and my grandfather brought all these flowers from all over the place and started planting them in their house, and that became the botanical garden in Bucaramanga.
Wow.
So I don't know. I have nature,
Mm.
like invested in me, and I also love to look at everyday small images that everyone passes by. So I'm starting to bring into my nature paintings, characters that look like nothing, might look like nothing. For example, in the Colombo exhibition, I have an old guy sitting in a chair in the middle of a lot of flowers. So I don't know. I like that idea of he's becoming, you know, paisaje. You know, he's becoming part of the
Landscape.
environment.
Yes.
Yeah, of the landscape, exactly. Sorry. So people that become part of the landscape that every day, you don't even stop to think about the light.
Uh-huh.
When you go to the park or something, there's an old guy sitting there and it's beautiful.
You're
But
highlighting them.
yes, people like to pass them by, and I really, with my age, I'm starting to look closer to everything, and I'm letting myself to be amazed with everyday stuff, not only beautiful models sitting in a
Yeah.
pose or whatever, very dramatic. I think that's beautiful as well, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think I'm working more on everyday stuff and bringing that together with nature. Um, I think that's kind of my process right now. We did an exposition, a show in Bucaramanga called Correspondence. And the exercise was between all the members of the collective. For example, I started a painting. I got a canvas and I drew a flower. And then I sent it to Esteban, for example, and he had to work on it. And then Esteban said that to Catalina, and we all rotated pieces, and then that was our collective works of that show. And in that show, Esteban sent me, you see that black carpet right there?
Mm-hmm.
It's a piece of fabric that, you put in the ground so when you spill painting, it doesn't wet the floor. So he
Yeah.
sent me this huge black, exact same fabric in that exercise. And I got angry. I was like, this guy is lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he sending me a fabric full of drops of paint? But in that exercise, I painted a guy sitting on a chair, an old guy sitting on a chair, and it looked
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And that made me think how my process could be. So now my process is to lose the fear of the white canvas. I start
Mm-hmm.
just hitting it with paint. And, for example, on that one, I just drip paint all colors. And there is a sense of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, I start just like letting myself be messy and have drops, and I grab my spray cans with how do you call that? It's like plantillas, like dots or squares or whatever, and I start making like a background.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm happy with that, I go to my reference, or now part of my process is taking my own pictures and bringing them into the canvas, and thinking about how can I mix this stuff. And then it's not a planned painting. It's more like I let the painting be whatever it wants to be. I just
Mm-hmm.
start painting. So, for example, that's what I love about painting nature. I just start
Yeah.
painting flowers and leaves and stuff, and it has his own life and his own spirit, and it starts coming out of the canvas. And then, well, like every artist, you never know when it's done, and you
Yeah,
just
I was
hope.
about to ask that. That how do you
Yes,
know when to stop
it's really hard. I don't know.
with
I don't know.
experience, with
For
time, I
example,
think.
right now my paintings are in the Colombo, and I'm thinking about how can I paint more on them.
Oh, okay.
So, I think it's never done, but that's the beauty of art. I think, again, because of my background in graphic design and in art
Mm.
direction, I have a sense of composition and, tensions and all these laws of aesthetics. Uh, and I think I like to be in that square of laws. Some people like to break them. I like beautiful things, So I like my paintings to be beautiful. And if I make a flower, even if it's this small in a 2 meter painting, I want that small flower to be beautiful because I think the parts of everything are what makes one big beautiful thing. So I don't know. I like beautiful things, but I think beauty is in a lot of stuff that nobody thinks about beautiful. I've been painting a lot of old people lately. I don't know why, but I think it's beautiful. I think it's wrinkles and texture, and I don't know. I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And
Yeah.
when you paint, you just hope that some other person or somebody else thinks
Will
and
resonate with that.
identifies with
Mm.
that and resonates with that.
And that's huge. That's huge because well, you have been involved with art all of your life, and more recently, you have been like, yeah, I don't like the phrasing like taking it seriously, but like being more committed to it. Um, and you have come like a really long way with your own process. Like you talk as if you were like a seasoned artist, like you have been doing this for a while, and your paintings do show that. So I was very impressed when you mentioned you were a self-taught artist, like you have like everything, honestly. And what I really love about it is that you are very honest about your process, what you do, how do you do it, and I think that goes a long way.
No, thank
So,
you so much.
and maybe what would you say that has changed with your art since you started creating it?
Well, a lot has changed. I think, I think maybe it comes more natural to me because I've been thinking about it for a long time. It's like this suppressed stuff that I had inside me that needed to be expressed. And I think what's changed the most is I'm less afraid. I am more committed. I have more discipline. It's not like I paint only when I want to paint, but I make myself want to paint. It's like I have to do it. Even if I don't feel like it, it's become like a ritual. And I know I have to start doing stuff. And because I have surprised myself that sometimes I didn't want to do something and then something amazing came out of that work day. And I'm less afraid of making mistakes. It's like there's no cameraman behind me watching me telling me if it's good or bad because I came from that culture when I was in advertising. Like, it's not good. It's the logo is not big enough and all that stuff. So I'm letting go of all of that, and that's the therapeutic part of painting and making art. It's like um, when you start. Sorry, I saw something in the in my screen. So letting go, like being less afraid of making mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
starting to explore more and to push myself. Maybe I like painting this kind of flower. Now I have to learn how to paint other flowers and other characters and how can I paint a hand better or a
Mm-hmm.
facial expression or not everyone has to be looking in front of the camera, but maybe aside. I take my paintings and I go outside and I take a walk and I paint something that I see. So it's a process and I think it never ends. You know, it's like but if you stop, then you lose that momentum and you lose that flow with your hands and with the materials and how you learn something. Um, so yes, I think that's what's changed. Being less afraid, and but I'm always afraid. You know, I always
Mm.
every time I start a blank page or a white canvas, I'm like, I don't. There's like this imposter syndrome that
Uh-huh.
takes over me that is saying like you didn't study for this, you don't know what you're doing, there's better people. And there's
Mm.
but you know, with age maybe comes that fuck it. I don't know, I don't
Uh-huh.
care if there's better people than me or better artists or whatever. I'm gonna do my thing because I love doing it, not because I need recognition. Although
Mm-hmm.
recognition and acknowledgement is amazing because it fuels fuels you, you know, it's like, okay, you're on the right path. But at the end, you're doing it. You're a lonely guy or a lonely person in a dark room with your paintings, just doing what you love. So I think I'm falling more in love with the process than
Mm-hmm.
the outcome.
That's huge. That's huge. I mean, first letting go of fear, because it really do stop creative people at some point. So in this journey, you have not had that maybe that your doubts or things like
Oh,
that
yes,
stop you. Oh,
all
okay,
the
okay.
time. I doubt of myself all the time. And with social media,
Mm.
telling you how many likes makes a good
Oh, yes,
artist, and
that's
you know,
horrible.
but I once saw a video of a guy saying, you know, there's a guy that bought a banana taped
That's
to
crazy.
a wall, you know, so you're doing great. Whatever you're doing is amazing. It's better than a banana taped. Well, that's for another conversation about conceptual art and everything. But I think it's like going to the gym, you know, or getting into a diet or something. You have to
Ah,
push yourself to do hard things.
mm-hmm. You
You
have to
want,
show up
yes, you have to show up and you have to overcome your biggest enemy that is, you know,
yourself.
inside
Yes.
your head. That's your biggest enemy always, because I think we can do whatever we want, and life is too short. You know, it's like too short to not do what you are, what you want to do. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like all my friends tell me, for example, now I live in a small town, and everyone's
Yes.
like, "You're crazy. You're going away from the city, and what about the restaurants and whatever?" But
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for them, you know, I'm doing it for me. And in that translates in my love for art and for making art. It's like, yes, it's amazing to show people and have validation from the art community and from all day, everyday people.
Mm.
It's amazing. It fuels me. I'm not going to say it's not important to me, but at the end, the most important thing is that I'm doing it because it's not a job. It's not something that somebody's going to qualify me for or tell me if it's good or not. I love doing it for me, and I think, well, a lot of people talk about this. You know, there's a famous guy right now called Rick Rubin that has a famous book. It's really selling right now. It's called The Creative Act, and he says exactly that. It's like, don't do it for the fans. Don't do it for, you know, he worked with Rolling Stones and the Beatles and a lot of people that make great things. And at the beginning, it might look weird or maybe not satisfying for everybody, but you just have to do it for yourself and because it brings you, you know, love and it brings you joy to your life. So especially in arts.
Mm.
It's like, why would I put myself through this, and why would I buy like 20, 200,000 pesos oil paintings
Mm.
to waste because you do a lot of bad stuff, but at the end, it's for the love of it, you know?
That's a great
And
advice.
I'm always fearful
Mm-hmm.
for what I'm doing. I
Do
just
it with fear.
do it, yes. There's a saying like dumb but decided,
I
you know?
like it. And it goes a long way. I mean, it's a great advice for people who maybe are afraid or that their art or what they want to do might not be enough. But just do it afraid, and
Just do
uh,
it.
yes, just do it. Do you
Yeah,
have
that's exactly right.
hmm do you have any like favorite artist or someone that has inspired you or like really influenced your artwork?
Yes, I have a lot of them, but there's a guy called Mr. Aris. He's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. There's a guy called Andrew Salgado. I really love his work, and I think my work is really inspired in his work. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not copying because you can't copy that, but I think I really feel connected to that kind of aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And oh no, I don't know. My father is really an
Mm-hmm.
inspiration for me. His handle of color and composition and depth, and
Mm-hmm.
how he can do, like a huge forest in the background and then animals coming at you. It's amazing. But I really find inspiration in a lot of stuff. I see a lot of movies. I love watching movies. Um,
At the
but
top
at
of your
some
mind, do
point,
you have any favorite movies like top five or top three?
oh yes, no, I have a lot of
A
them. I
lot.
love everything Fincher does. Everything Fincher does, I love it. I love Fight Club. I love Captain Fantastic. Um, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Everything Wes Anderson does, I love it as well. Tim Burton in the early days, not now. I don't like Wednesday and that stuff, but I love Disney. I love
Mm-hmm.
Pixar. There's a lot of inspiration in everything. I love Within Refn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love Whiplash, and everything he does is amazing as well. La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like, but my biggest advice is that at some point you have to stop looking at reference because you can go crazy.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me. Sometimes I start my day by looking at my folders of inspiration of other painters, and that can become a problem. That can be a little depressive because you start thinking like, "Fuck, I'm never gonna do that."
Mm-hmm.
And how did this guy do this? And so you have to know how to approach inspiration, because at some point it can be a downer, or it can be like, okay, how did this guy do this, and how can I do something with my own style that brings me that kind of awe and amaze. And but there's a lot of stuff out there. Nowadays there you can find everything you want, and even they have courses, and they can teach you how to do it. But as we were saying, you just have to put on the blank canvas in the wall and start doing something. I have a quote in one of my posts that says, I'm learning because I don't consider myself that I've made it or anything, but at least I'm doing. I'm trying. I'm doing it. I'm showing up, and I'm going put myself in hard situations and going. I am now an introvert. I don't really love a lot of crowds, and that's why I live in a mountain right now. But I put myself in hard positions, like going to an art show and selling my work and talking to people. And maybe it's not something that I love and,
Mm-hmm.
wait for the whole year. I want people to talk to, but I do it. And I do it gladly and I do it with the best of my abilities just because I know how important it is to show up and do hard things, in life in general.
In general, yes, that applies to everything, and it's very valuable. Um, do you maybe have any like favorite piece of work that you have created, like something that
I think
you've?
this one you're showing right now.
Oh,
This
yes.
is yes. I think this is my last. This is the last painting I did.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in the exhibition, oil wasn't dry yet. I had
Oh,
to move it really carefully because I practically finished it like 3 days before the art show.
oh well.
But I told Esteban, who was the curator of the exhibition and he's part of the collective, that I told him like, look what I did. I don't know. I think I should take it because I love it. What I love about this is how loose uh, it was to do it. I was fearless
Mm-hmm.
doing it because I wasn't thinking about the small wrinkle or whatever. And I think it shows in this painting, like that freedom of messing up and working more lightly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm finding my own voice. When I look at this painting, I think I'm finding who I am when I paint and what I want to do. It's like, it's one of those paintings that I don't want to sell. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. Yeah, it's really hard. That's another topic. It's like some people tell
Yes.
me like, how much for this? And you're like, $1 million because it's you can't put a price on it, and then maybe in my own process, I'm gonna have to learn how to let go of paintings
Yes.
and how to price them, and that's another,
Yeah, that's
another
another
thing.
thing. But
Yes.
yesterday I was reading something that another well ceramist wrote, that she was like, it was funny because the only pieces she kept for herself were the ones that were like broken, that were like, it was a trial and error and it didn't um turn out the way she wanted, and she doesn't have any like good piece. So I think it's important also to recognize that, because even if, I mean, we want to sell art, right? That's something we
Yes.
want. But to still keep things that are really close to your heart and that are really important, because they might help you, for example, in your process, to help you um do other things. And yeah, I don't know, I was touched because it doesn't sit well with me that you only keep things that you don't think are like good enough, maybe. And
Yeah.
we do want to sell, but I mean, it's nice to have
Yes,
things
I
you are
think it's
proud of.
it's what we were talking about. It's about committing, and knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and maybe you don't sell it to anybody, just
Yeah.
anyone, but
Mm-hmm.
someone that really appreciates it and it's gonna love it and
Yes.
it's gonna love having that piece of work in their house and they're gonna exhibit it as if you were there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. It's something I'm learning because I'm not a best-selling artist right now. So I'm starting to learn. Some people ask me about prices, and I
Mm-hmm.
give a price that I think it's, you know, inside the regular stuff
Mm-hmm.
that you can charge for something like this. But I think when you give away everything you've done, it also has a positive side because it pushes you to, okay, you did it once, can you do it again? You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Make
how
room
good
for
are
new
you?
things.
Yeah, it was like you can hold to everything, you know, it's because you have
Yeah,
to
no.
start your own museum of yourself.
No,
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And I suffer from the same thing that this person you're talking about suffers. It's like, I don't know. I suffer from letting go and from not selling. So it's a huge issue, you know, you don't know what to do. It's like, why are you doing it for? It's for
mm,
yourself, or it's a business, or you want to have your work everywhere. And but I think the positive thing about letting it go is it gives you room to push yourself to do it again and do it better and do more. And because if you already have all your walls full with paintings that you did, then you're not gonna want to make more, you know?
you know, and it might be like keep pushing you to do more always, to do something always,
And do better, you know,
and
and
do
learn from
better.
your past. But I think something that today, nowadays, you can do is, you know, make prints
Mm-hmm.
and document your artwork very well, you know, take really good pictures of it and always have the, well, this is an advice for artists that you can sell a painting, but you will always be the owner of the intellectual property of that thing you did. Some people gave up their, you know, their rights, and you should never do that. You should always be able to, you know, sell reproductions, put
Mm,
your paintings in a book. You have to think about the long term, you know. If things go amazing and you become a famous painter, you will want to have the rights of your
yeah.
own work, you know, you don't have to let it go. So I think maybe I can sell the paintings and just have reproductions, you know, like
Yeah,
posters of
that's a
them
great
in my
idea.
house or something.
Mm,
It's like you do ceramics. Maybe you have a piece, an amazing piece you did, you can do a mold and you know, you can reproduce it and it's never gonna be the same as the original, but it's something to hold on to.
yes. So thank you, Iwan, for your kind words, your time. Um, and thank you everyone who joined us today. You can check Ivan's socials on the comments. I will link them on the comments. And everyone is very invited to go and look at the exhibition that will be up there until when? Until
30, April 30th.
April 30. So everyone can go and check Ivan's and the collective Sietepuestos work at the Gallery of the Colombo that's currently on exhibition, and feel free to check his socials. Thank you, Ivan,
Thank you.
for
No,
everything.
thank you, Margarita, for inviting me, and thank you to the Colombo for giving us the space to show our work. And I hope it's not the last time.
Let's hope it's not yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
everyone.